All right, so these are the Great Pyramids. I'm going to, it's a documentary that's featured at the top of my list right now. And what I wanted to do is go ahead and talk about that a bit. I'm going to take us on out to the ocean, and you can go ahead and listen to the video later if you like, or now if you want. So I wanted to start out with that thumbnail so I could show you the Great Pyramids documentary and then talk about that. In the midst of all of that, a couple of things that I'm going to break down for you here is, yeah, the Earth still isn't moving. It doesn't move. That's part of the reality of it. Let's see, I'll turn on my light there. That'll show up a little bit better. It's very calm today. The beginning of the video, this actually live broadcast, what I showed was the thumbnail for the documentary starting out, and it's linked in the description. Now, the moon is up in that area right there. We obviously can't see it. And the sun is approaching from over here. To be clear, a couple of things I want to point out. I've got video showing it where the sun was coming up at coming towards us at 58 degrees northeast and setting at 300 northwest. Now, as I've shown before, the symmetry of the reflection in the middle of the road is precision. I move a little bit, you can see that, and it shows up. All of that symmetry in reality is there for you to look at. And this is a broadcast like I've never done before. As far as I can remember, it's going to be a little bit different, and I want to explain why. Okay, so yeah, I'm driving in the car. One of the reasons that works is because I'm on the move a lot and I'm going places, and I want to take you there, and I want to show you some what I believe to be reality. Now, in the documentary, a couple of things that were discussed was that in some of the documentary, they're talking about it took 20 years to build the Great Giza Pyramid. And then in other areas, they were espousing that they didn't really know the method or the means of the construction of the pyramids, the Easter Island, and then also places all around the earth, okay, including Peru and, of course, in Egypt and all of that. And one of the reasons why I'm bringing that up is because I'm encouraging people to research reality. What is the reality of the world that we live in, and how will you be able to know? So, like for example, this morning I was able to go to those to watch a documentary where people were talking about mysteries. And then in some respects, the globe, they had the globe prominently displayed in areas that even seemed pretty awkward when they were showing the pyramid itself. And so the globe was a focal point as well in this. And so when there's an interview, I should say, interviewing of professionals in the mathematics field, in all kinds of engineering and design, mathematics, architectural, all of that, and they're expressing some certainty, like the timeline, when it was built, and where, and then the specific accuracy of the golden number, and and all of that, and seeing that existing in the Great Pyramids. One little thing that I found very interesting is that apparently some of the pyramids were covered up by sand, and they were uncovered. I didn't realize that. I thought they were just kind of like sitting there. So plain to see. No, some of them were excavated. We've got archaeological digs and discoveries that cover this. So to look at the irony, I thought, of the symmetry and precision with which they're talking about the architectural precision of the pyramids, and then later on they're showing the spherical nature of the globe in the view, and they're talking about the precision of the pyramids, the golden number, and all of that. It's interesting because to try and do those measurements and to have the precision with granite, the weight of the pieces of rock and all that was apparently quarried from what they thought were known distances away, it's amazing. So one of the other dynamics, I'm going to flip this around so you can see what this is looking like as well. One of the other dynamics with all this is the reality that in some ways they were talking about absolute certainty, certain facts that I believe, or certain thoughts and what I believe would be theories at best, like the distances away that the pyramids were constructed of granite that was quarried known distances away and moved before apparently we had wheels and compasses and squares and measuring devices with precision that was utilized in all of that. Thought that was almost like an intellectual disconnect. To go along with that, for people to be so well educated and indoctrinated, there's agendas that I believe are presented within the documentary, which is very characteristic of the type of disinformation that's utilized when you're trying to manipulate well-educated people. It's not going to be presented in a breakdown of The Simpsons foretelling future events. It's going to be more in the form of an academic, professionally produced documentary that deals with actually a pretty big budget to put that type of production together. So you can see it, and to listen to the different individuals and how they saw things and what they discovered, I found just absolutely amazing. I've got to watch it again, and I may be reaching out to some of these individuals through maybe Twitter or LinkedIn or their website, should they have one. The real challenge, or one of the real challenges that we deal with in the process of critical thinking, is the reality of cognitive dissonance. When people have come to a belief that they knew what the reality was, then that being presented new information that they will dismiss, or I will dismiss. I've actually displayed some of that myself. As I continually say, I believe God's word is true and all others are suspect. So that's my basis for what I believe to be true for many, many reasons. I talk about that. So now that I'm going over the Intracoastal Waterway, the sun would be visible from this location, right in the middle of the view, and the moon is clearly not able to be seen with the amount of cloud cover. However, the tide is very visible, the water is very visible, and that was one of the other ironies that I saw within some of the views, as when they were showing some of the mysteries of the carvings of Easter Island and so forth, and showing the horizon, the horizontal view of the plane in the backdrop. So the truth is actually hidden in plain sight. And I believe the Creator is evident within His creation. So as far as revelations of the pyramids, who built them, how did they do it, and how long ago, as far as I'm concerned, that's still a big mystery. And it could even be, I haven't even taken this possibility off the table, that God did it just to cause people to question it, just to try and get at their analytical, deductive reasoning, help them to consider how that all came into being. Why are we here? It's not an accident. It's not a random event, a celestial sneeze. Now that, I believe, takes quite a bit of imagination to believe that that out of order, out of chaos, that we had a big explosion and we, Shazam, we got creation. Or we've got what we can observe. So now to kind of like fast forward with the Great Pyramids as the backdrop and other wonders and mysteries of the world, what I would simply say is, even if we could cue up the tape, Bob. Let's just see them time lapse of the construction of the Great Pyramids. Did it take 20 years, like they say? They said in the video. Did they hold to that? I'm gonna have to watch it again and see. They were pretty certain it took only 20 years, but it was based on assumptions. So part of the, I believe one of the standards that we should apply for examining new information is to take a look at critical thinking and what we can know for sure. Okay, so if we were able to queue up a time-lapse footage of the construction of the Giza Pyramid, the monuments on Easter Island, and some of the archaeological digs in Peru, and in China. In China, they put trees on top of the pyramids. Why were they wanting to hide them? Okay, so in Peru, we've got also things like elongated skulls and some pretty interesting stuff. So I'm going to broaden this investigation to further than simply the pyramids of Giza, although I'm going to bounce back and forth to that. The fact that they were promoting the globe, conspicuous by its presence, and then wanting to present that a lot of the mystery of this was removed when we were able to launch rockets in the space program and all of that. That's part of the enthronement, the self-enthronement that the deceivers have done with their astronauts, the Masonic builders, yeah, ancient secret societies, basically to enslave people with a false reality. All of that still is in play. Now I can tell that the tide is low right now because it stinks. I smell a lot of sulfur. It's one of the evidences in the Middle East is the site of Sodom and Gomorrah. There's a lot of sulfur encapsulated in brimstone and all of that. Guess who's here? The liquid money truck, once again, right on schedule. Yeah, we don't have toilet water flying out on people in Australia because of gravity. That's still a reality of all this. So part of the, I want to cut this off so we can hear the quiet out there. So part of the reality of this is the precision with which the reflections are. Okay, so we can see the slice in the clouds right there and the reflection of it. The precision of the water is amazing. That's still the reality of it. So I'm going to take us on out to the ocean now, and it looks like we're going to have some rain. So, oh yeah, I can hear the thunder. So being that that's the case, and I won't be able to show much of the sun, probably because of the cloud density and the water rolling in, the storm. That's all kind of interesting. So I'm thinking of the best place to go for this, probably right over at the Prince Resort once again. Yeah, the difference with not having the P1000 out and me just having the umbrella, I think probably makes the most sense. I don't feel like getting soaked. So, oh, you know what? I just went ahead and rolled by this a little bit quick, but I think it's worthy of showing once again, is the reflection that I was able to see of the Prince Resort right there in the water. Notice that? Highlight, low light. There's like no wind right now. So in the mathematical evaluation of the construction of the pyramids, I found it absolutely amazing. They were so quick to say that they didn't have that technology then. They're certain to say they didn't have that technology. Well, how is that knowable to them? How could they know? So I'm going to show you the pretty calm reflections right there. A few ripples, not much. Those were some of the clues that I uncovered in all of this, exploring my reality and research. I say it like that as research because I've been searching for a long time. I've had to research because I found out that a lot of the information I was basing what I believe to be true on and the reality of the situation, I found out that it wasn't true. It was a lie. It was a deception. So we do have the benefit of free parking in the parking ramp here. Let me turn that off. And one of the nice features of this, levels 1 and 2 are free public parking. When we get inches of rain in minutes, there's a nice parking spot right there. I think that's the one I'm going to go with, and I'll explain why. Because this is going to be a very busy area. A lot of people coming and going because it's Saturday, and as you can see there, the elevators are. And so it is a lot about the views. There will be people that'll say, hey, YouTube's here. Yeah, I am. I'm just one of millions of YouTubers. And so not only is this going to be convenient to be out of the rain when it breaks loose, I'll have a lot of views of people coming and going from the elevators. That was part of developing an understanding of getting the views. How does that even work? Okay. Let me see. I think think I'm gonna probably, I need a moment to get a couple of things ready here. Sorry for the delay. It's each day that I do this, it's a little bit different. It's never exactly the same. All right, so I'm gonna go at this a little bit differently. This is the setup for today, and I'm actually going to run without an umbrella. And one of the reasons for that is this is very, well, we have wind. Wind can be a big problem, and umbrellas are a lot harder to handle with the wind. So there we go. So what they've done too here is they've got an enforcement so people don't car camp here. That's always an issue when people are wanting to economize. Sometimes they'll pull into a parking ramp and want to sleep. Well, so this is part of what I want to show you. This is the elevator setup, and then from right there a lot of people will see the car there. That's one of the reasons for that. The other thing is when we get a gully washer, and we still have drains in here because a lot of water will move around. When we get the storm surges and that, this is all designed to handle hurricane weather. Oh my gosh, my absolute favorite spot is available. Yeah, I'm grabbing it. I can even camp out there if I want. That's going to get more views than the elevator, and I'll tell you why. Well, almost everybody that comes and goes through that ramp is going to go right there, and I get a much better view for it. So I didn't even think I would have that opportunity. That's why I grabbed this one. There was somebody else coming, so here's what I'll do for right now. Just lock that back in so I can have a dedicated drive, because a spot like that will only be there for a moment. Pretty sure of that. Yeah, that would be my absolute favorite spot right there. It's a bit of a showcase. If I could rent that spot, I would. But it's not for rent. It's free. This is even a location where I would do a photo op. Probably will, but not right now. Pretty cool, isn't it? And it's all part of the deal. People will come on around and they'll wonder what's going on. All right. Sally? Oh yeah. Yeah, so right now the wind is blowing all different directions. Last night it almost looked like sunset was an hour early because of all the rain that was occurring. Good morning. Are you going out? Yeah, that's a obvious wall of water right there. So I've had a real love for the water, especially the ocean, for a long time. And one of the reasons for that is it's a pretty constant, like looking out there, if I, oh yeah, lightning. We don't have oil rigs out there. There's not even a boat out there right now that I can see. Obviously, this is some evidence of modern construction. Not, of course, not to rival the Great Pyramids. So now the wind is coming out of the southwest at about 7 to 10. So I've lived next to the ocean in California, Seal Beach, Long Beach area. I used to go up and down the California coast when I lived out there. And then I also lived in Texas. Used to live in Corpus Christi, Texas. Went out to Padre Island quite a bit, Port Aransas. Big thunder from that area right there. We can't see through much water. The moon right now is about in that area. Obviously we can't see it. And of course we can't see the sun either. Sunrise was a little after 6:30 Eastern Standard Time, right in that area from this vantage point. Obviously there's too many clouds and rain in the way to see it. So some of the responses I get is that when asked how far the sun and the moon are away from the earth, I'll say, well, I believe the biblical proclamation that they're in the midst of the clouds, as Job 37 talks about. The fact that I can zoom in on pelicans and people such a long ways away with my camera, and then zoom in on the moon with the fine detail of that, it sounds about right. Miles away, not tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of miles away. So the clarity of my video might not be as accurate right now, but I'm going to digress back to the time-lapse footage that we don't have of the pyramid construction. Supposedly, we've got real-time video of space travel and now video of black holes, supposedly. Yeah, the space NASA's concerned with is between your ears, your imagination. How about that? So because I've proven them to be a deceptive organization. Many have. I'm not alone. I'll prove it as I find powerful documentaries and share them as well as you can too. When we make our YouTube playlist, our liked videos public, just clicking on a video, you can put together your own library of liked videos that show what you want to expose to people. So to be clear, even though I realize we don't live on a globe, I'm showing a documentary that is promoting the globe. But I'm also, the overwhelming presence of my activity is saying the globe is a lie. I've got it riding around in my car. It doesn't mean I believe in it, that I believe we live on one. So for example, when they awkwardly put the globe in their precision measurements of the pyramids, and they're showing the distances apart from one another and how things line up, you can watch the documentary if you care to. I'm gonna need to watch it a couple of times to try and understand more of the detail that they're explaining and exploring. And so that documentary was put together a while ago, and when I put that video, that link showing that video, that's only one of more than 2,800 videos on my playlist of liked videos. Now it's the water's coming in. I can feel it, and I don't really need to be out in a gully washer. I'll go on over to the car. See, the other thing about the location where I moved the car to is that that's a very public area that I can be in. Yeah, I can take pictures of the car there and talk to people as they come through. If you should like a YouTube Truth sticker, you can reach out to me. I'll send them to you if you want. Send me a self-addressed stamped envelope at 169 Cloverleaf Drive, Longs, South Carolina 29568. If you'd want to meet me out on the beach, feel free to call if you want. Make sure I can get together with you. I like to meet in public locations, especially for random meetings with people I've not met before. So you can call me at 1-843-504-1776. I think I'm going to take us up here for a little bit. I can get out of the wind and rain around this structure a bit. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, it looks like you got the P1 or P900, huh? Oh, you're recording now too, right? Excellent. Oh yeah. Good morning. I'm Robert Forsch, by the way.
Tommy Rogers.
Nice to meet you, Tommy. Where are you from?
Oak Bird, North Carolina.
Oh, excellent.
30 miles east of Charlotte.
Yes, sir. If you want to connect on YouTube or Facebook, there's my stickers. Feel free to reach out. I've got the P1000 and a 900 I've done a lot of work with it. You might enjoy the content. Tommy, right?
Yes.
How long you here for, Tommy?
Till Wednesday.
Oh, cool. Would you mind if I put you on for a moment?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Here, let me just put your camera on. Tommy's out here recording the storm coming in. Well, nice to meet you. Ooh, wow, we got that. That was pretty cool. I'm sorry?
I might have seen you on YouTube before. I'm not sure.
Yeah, now, are you recording for a particular documentary or a particular type of material?
It's a hobby.
Sure.
I got something about sunrise.
They're beautiful.
You see one this morning.
Yeah, it'll be a bit different.
There, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that, from this vantage point, the sun, what time is it right now?
Probably about 15 till 7, but maybe a little later.
Yeah, the sun is about over the middle of the pier right now.
I normally stay farther down the beach. I'm not sure how the curve is.
Sure. Now, have you gone all the way down to the point where the dunes are in that?
No.
It's beautiful. I think I'm gonna. Whoa, cool. That'll be interesting to see that.
Trying to.
This is an iPhone 10 right now. I've got a live Facebook recording going on, or a broadcast, and then I'll convert it to a YouTube video. One of the opportunities I've had to capture with the sunrises and sunsets as well is the sun appearing to be in the midst of the clouds, much as Job 37 talks about. I'm a biblical creationist. Are you a Bible believer, Tommy?
Yes.
Excellent. So one of the other playlists that I have too is called YouTube Truth, and it's an audio Bible merged with the beauty of creation. I was hit by lightning down there. I recorded it too. It was called Struck by Lightning.
I've been trying to figure out right in that general direction is Ocala Lighthouse,
Yeah.
and you should be able to see it.
Right. Oh, right. Right.
But it may not be Ocala Lighthouse. It could be something in between there and there.
Wow. Yeah, this is definitely where the storm cell is pretty active.
I'm an hour past breakfast. I'm an early eater. I'm gonna have to head on.
Yep. Well, nice to meet you, Tommy. Thanks for your time. Thanks. Feel free to reach out anytime. I'm sure I'll be back here a few more days to go ahead and do this.
You have a great day.
Thanks, Tommy. You too. So I've got some friends out there, Luke and his wife, and others that'll be getting a little bit of a freshwater rinse while they surf out there. So like right here, the wind and rain is coming over. I might be able to, yeah, this is better right here. It's a bit of an alternative to the umbrella, actually a better one, I think. So this will be at full zoom. about 10 times. Wow. So when looking at information, one of the things that I believe is referred to Occam's razor, when you can evaluate information and determine with the least amount of assumptions what the truth about a matter is. So that's part of the dynamic that I want to consider as I evaluate information and as I'm on this journey to find out the truth about the world we live in. I believe that that's really important to do, to have as few assumptions as necessary. So one of the ironies, I just found this so ironic, they were showing a square and a level, and they were talking about the construction of the pyramids, and they were assuming that they didn't have levels then. Well, they had water. And God hovered, moved over the face of the deep. We've got a structure up above us. It's a celestial timepiece, a firmament, the firmament. His handiwork is seen in that. I'm going to flip this around and show you a little bit of what that. We can't see it now, obviously. Even on a clear day, we can't see the firmament, apparently. However, the unobstructed view of the sky without clouds is pretty blue, of course. One of the constants about the water is it fills its container every time. So like, for example, because it's raining and there are no people out here, I don't have any parents that would be freaking out on me, creeping on their kids or them. It's no big deal. It's not happening. So I'm a bit cautious when I do videos like this. It's when I take it and how I do it. Quite a bit of rain coming down now. One of the things that I would encourage you to consider, are you open to new information? Good morning. So we don't have any numbers up today yet, huh? Has it been down for a while?
I don't know. I came in. I haven't touched it yet.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Right here is the screen where we'll get readings from the end of the pier, water temperature and so forth. Right here we've got the tidal activity that you can see. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Excellent, thanks. So there won't be a lot of chairs out on the beach right now, but it's a nice fresh water rinse for the surfers. Not so easy to see them unless I zoom in a bit. They're out there, some of them. Doing a video right here showing the beauty of this. I've got a channel that I call YouTube Truth. Here's my, those are waterproof stickers. You can feel free to...
So like if I fall in the water,
If you fall in the water or you got fish guts on your hand, it's not gonna smear it. How about that? What's your name?
Thomas.
Thomas, I'm Robert Forrest.
Hey, Robert.
Nice to meet you. Yeah, we got some lightning out there, huh?
That's why we're up here.
That's a good move, Thomas. I was struck by lightning down at the point there. A storm came in and I had my umbrella and all my equipment, and I got to the beach that day on a on a motorcycle, so I had to make a choice whether to try and run off the beach or keep recording. Well, Struck by Lightning is the name of the video. I was hit, and so were the 5 surf fishermen that were out there, and they got hit too. But we're all okay. Well, apparently. Some might question that.
At least you're alive.
Well, yeah, some might question my sanity about the whole thing, but as a biblical creationist, I know the one who controls the storm. I'm a Bible believer, and I'm good to go. I got the upgrade. Nice to meet you, Thomas. There you go, man. Oh yeah, it's a happening. Wow. So this is actually the Cherry Grove Fishing Pier and the Prince Resort in South Carolina. So even the gentlemen, even the wet wood is quite a mirror there as well. So even being just in a little bit from the edge is kind of out of the way a bit, but having an umbrella would be kind of tough with any of this.
Sand, right? Every time the wind gets up, it's the sand back out.
So what I've noticed here is that because this part of the pier is pretty secure, pretty solid, don't feel the movement, but even on the out on the pier there, over the water, there's movement from the waves hitting it, vibration and more. Quite a bit way out on the end, actually. So part of the dynamic with fishing, as I'm sure you know, is the social interaction. Hey, I've got stickers for you if you want. Hey, that's me, and you'll be on later. I'm Robert Forsch, by the way.
I am from Venezuela.
Hey, excellent. Nice to meet you. So yeah, you're on my YouTube channel. Hey, thanks for the subscribe. I'll sub back if I see you there. If you don't make your subscription list public, I won't see you. However, if you make a comment and say hi, met you or something, I'll reach out. Hey, you're welcome. This is the largest tiger shark caught off the end of the pier in, I believe, '63. Almost 2,000 pounds of shark. A lot of these shark teeth will be picked up on they have to dig for them a bit. When we have the beach renourishment, some of those will show up. Good day, gentlemen. Thank you. So when I get home, I'll turn the Facebook live broadcast into a YouTube, and you'll be on there. Nice to meet y'all.
Have a good day.
Thanks, you too. So one of the, it's kind of funny. Our sons would say I'm like Captain Obvious. What I would say, like, if I were to just stay in bed on a rainy day like today, none of these meetings would have occurred. None of the interactions with the different people I've met would happen. And then what gets really interesting is that interesting interaction on the internet with people that are trying to school me on how stupid I am. and how I need to maybe fly in a plane so I can see the curve, or do I do mathematics, and all of that. If any of the people that are critical are even watching now, I would say if you've got some answers about the Great Pyramids and how people can believe they live on a spinning ball when they're showing the mysteries of the Great Pyramids, and they're showing the water sphere that they believe people are living on upside down in relationship to other people, there's a disconnect there. There's obviously a more powerful deception going on than I can overcome by creative content production, or you or anybody else. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2 says to everybody forever, they refuse to love the truth and so be saved. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion. We had a great flood, a deluge, that covered over the tops of all the mountains. You can't get miles of water to stick to a spinning water sphere. It just is not possible. It's not like any of the reality that we see around us. We see the rain fall, all the droplets of water coming down. That's just what it does. It's a little easier to see it like that. So the water is very precise. That is a constant. So I'm going to take us on over to, I think I've captured enough of that for now. I'm good with it. You can see the people moving towards the vehicles. That's a great staging area underneath there. So even in a driving rain, you can unload your stuff and park on there. And of course there's a nice fresh smell, fragrance of the rain. No sulfur smell of the marsh out here, or the coastal preserve where I drove us to earlier. And of course, that's just what the water does all over the face of the stationary and level earth. There would be no level anywhere in a world that was moving, spinning, wobbling. They even showed the wobble on the video of the Great Pyramid archaeology. So I've got my own little showcase here. It's kind of cool. Time to take some photos, I think. Good morning.
Good morning. How you doing?
Excellent, thanks. So the world is full of mirrors. What do we see? And what do we think about what we see? Seeing is believing, right? Believing what? What do we see and what do we believe about it? So I'm going to show a couple of things right here. I think I'm gonna grab the globe. It's a good standby. And then this is another good standby. I've got that going on. Whoops. Hopefully I still have a broadcast. Looks like. Okay, so I can one-hand it really good with this, so to do this, I'm wanting to show something, but I don't want to get my camera all soaked, trying to stage the shot there. That's just what it'll do, over and over and over. That's without any spinning even. That's just what happens with the stationary, with a little air. No, nothing to fear but sphere itself. Some people say, oh, they're so adorable with their absurdity of making fun of flat earthers. How about that? I could take all the air out of that if I want. I don't need to. Don't need to. Oh, I know what I want to show you. It's kind of cool. I have a friend that sent me a water bottle through Amazon. Very cool, by the way. It's like a big component of a water level. You know, like the middle view of it. I'll show you what I mean. You probably get it, but I'll show you. That's what I'm talking about. So we have precision construction with the Great Pyramids. How in the world did they do that? And why? What was the message that they were wanting to convey to us? Well, that they were good at building, that's one thing for sure. And or was it God who did it? Could he do that? Of course he could do that. He wanted to. If God wanted to create the pyramids just to cause a lot of proud people to think, how in the world did they do that? We can't do that now. How'd they do that? They didn't have wheels, compasses, and squares, but how did they do that? They assumed that they didn't have compasses and squares, or we just didn't find any? Did they have computers, lasers, and all of that? Could be. Could be. I'm going to make some water disappear. Oh, let's see. I need to adjust my dealio a little bit there. No mystery on where that water went, right? It's not trickery. So that will get perfectly level if I stop moving, if I don't move the car, and it'll happen pretty quick. So if I actually kind of like ease it on down, it might get that way a little quicker. It's all testable, repeatable, measurable. Let's show Australia. Supposedly, Australia, are you okay down there? Of course they're okay. We don't live on a globe. That's a lie. Who knows that? Who knows that? Well, a lot of us know that. So normally walkers will use the umbrellas. Joggers don't really care. Of course, surfers don't have umbrellas out there. They've got them, I'm sure, somewhere. But it just wouldn't make any sense to use them, right? And that's part of the Captain Obvious. Well, I want to show you some of the obvious reflections of the lights in the water there off the road. Just the perfect symmetry of all that. And those clues are available for you to see wherever you live. Whether it's the water you wash your hands with, or take a shower with, or a long bath. That water exposes some important reality. You can hashtag weather wars. I believe we're going to get hit with a serious storm this year again. Probably. Hey, I was going to show you something. So right here, we've got some LED lights. Some believe, and I believe it's possible too, that there's an interaction with some of the, they're talking about a rollout of 5G where LED lighting is an integrated part of that. We had our analog broadcast system scrapped, and then digital rolls out. Do you think they cared what kind of television quality I got? Oh yeah, better to brainwash people with, right? So that's all part of the deal. I'm gonna put my stuff away here. Take us back out. Too much rain around to want to be out there in the rain with the P1000 though. So one of the things that will happen is that, like I mentioned, there will be quite a bit of activity, people coming not only from the elevator there, from the parking ramps over this way. Good day. And it looks like the rain stopped now. One of the, boy, it sure is beautiful now, huh? So part of the reality of that would be the symmetry of those clouds right there. Pretty easy to see that. So even though in the documentary about the mysteries of Giza, they're saying we didn't have that level of technology, well, we had the water. And I don't know what part of that water, and I'm sure they had more technology than water. I personally believe that. Apparently, part of the dynamic of the symmetry of the construction over thousands of miles of geometric shapes is that they were utilizing the stars to line things up, fixed in the firmament. There would be, towards the end of time, knowledge would increase. We got a whole lot of that, so I'm getting ready, doing my therapeutic soak in my highly purified carbon filtered reverse osmosis water with magnesium sulfate, Epsom salt, and baking soda, and coconut oil. I had a big gulp of my highly nutritious, like 20 ounce, almost a quart of the spinach, kale, chia seed, hemp hearts, apple cider vinegar, mixed berries, bananas, grape juice. I'm sure I missed something, but super healthy stuff. I'm in the bathtub for about an hour. Started out at 107 degrees, tested it with a digital thermometer, one of the infrared ones. The cats love chasing that around. And then I'm taking that bath and it drops down into the high 90s and I get on out. And I've gone to Peru, gone to Egypt, had aerial views of all that on that documentary. And I'm watching highly educated individuals professionally explain what they can't explain. That's part of the interesting thing about that. Now, some of them were a little bit more forthright with their inability to know how the pyramids were created. Some of them had assumptions, and basically I believe it's very interesting to pore over new information. Now, on the issue of spiritual considerations, I'm not saying that the Bible, that I'm not interested in even questioning that. I question God. The big question I had for him was, if I was truly born again, why was I struggling so much? And the answer that I got was, the reason I was struggling with the flesh is that's all I had. So I thought I was born again in 2014, in 1982, until I actually was in 2014. The change in me was so significant, I wanted to carry that message to anybody who will listen. How they built the pyramids really doesn't matter. The shape of the earth really doesn't matter, or does it? And here's how I would say it matters. I would say the truth matters. The truth and reality are interchangeable. So pride is a powerful catalyst for deception. A very proud individual is a very easily deceived individual. If you've ever worked with a two-part epoxy, especially JB Quickweld, you've got apparently 6 minutes to work with that before it gets harder than steel, once those two components are combined. The surfboard that they're using out here are typically made with two-part epoxy. There's a resin and a hardener. In the world all around us, there's obvious deception. Pride is a powerful catalyst to cause that deception to take hold. One of the things that I'm encouraging people to do is to research reality. Seek the truth with all your heart, because it matters for eternity. What I had hoped is that when people found out how, almost like when I found out the Santa Claus lie, I was 7 years old. Right around the time that lie was replaced with the moon landing hoax in 1969. I was deceived. They even showed me Santa and his flying reindeer flying over Lake Michigan on a radar. NASA and the space program promoted that lie. So did friends, family, teachers, classmates. It was a big joke, apparently, to some, and an innocent supposed deception to others. I believe it was a more sinister reality than that. It was tricking people into trick and deceive others. There we've got some real blue sky there. So these are real low clouds, real low lying clouds. There's a temperature differential that causes all that. We've got the evaporation, condensation, precipitation. Do you know how much a gallon of water weighs? That depends on the temperature. The volume and density of water changes with temperature. That's what drives the water cycle of the world. So Elon Musk is talking about Mars like a fixer-upper. Yeah, we can go there, but there's not water available. It's too cold or too hot, and we're going to need to melt ice caps with nuclear bombs, and we can send people there. And we need the Space Force. We've got a sitting president saying we need to have the Space Force. They're lying. They're liars. So Donald Trump is a liar? You don't have to be the president of the United States to figure out we didn't go to the moon and we don't live on a globe and we still got monkeys. That's as obvious as can be to those that want to know the truth. So there you go. If I haven't offended you yet, hang around. I don't mind. But you know, it isn't intentionally to be offensive. What it is basically is I want very much for people to know the truth about the reality of the world that we live in. That's the main point. What is it actually like? So a walk outside, watching the birds, watching the waves, and the people too. That was part of the other dynamic, was watching the people on the video explain what they couldn't explain or what they thought they knew about, you know, like, yeah, we don't know when it was built, who built it or why, but it took 20 years to build it. Apply your critical thinking. Does that even add up? That sentence, that paragraph. It doesn't make sense to me. The fact that they can be looking at precision of unique building blocks and how they have such close tolerances, and they've got a globe right next to them, and they're talking about working the globe into the equation. That's obviously a lie. They knew about it in the 1800s. Heck, they knew that we lived on a level plane from the Hebrew cosmology that included the firmament that's above, and that separated the waters that we're looking at down here. That's what we've got. The firmament separates the waters from up there from the waters here. What's that? No, I've got a live broadcast. You're on it right now. Tommy, right? Yep. What I'll do is I'm going to turn it into a YouTube video, and you can see yourself on it later if you care to, Tommy. Alrighty, have a good one. So part of the dynamic too, like the people that I'll meet when I'm out doing what I do, without me telling them what they should or shouldn't do directly, they can get an idea of what I'm about if they care to, if they choose to come on over to my channel and take a look at what I'm, not only me personally talking about, what I'm showing, the documentaries that I'm presenting that I believe are worthy of consideration. And then I'll do some commentary on that. The people that are riding the waves right now, I've given stickers to one of the key people, he's Luke Schur is out there, and he wanted a bunch of stickers for the people that he interacts with, which are mutual friends of mine. It's a bit of a stamp of approval, or at least, hey, you got to see what's going on here. You might think it interesting, and that's part of what I do too. I understand it's very interesting to look at things from a different perspective. So even in the short amount of time from the drive on in to right now, we can see the beauty of this. What's going on today, too, is that tens of thousands of people are leaving and are also arriving here today for quite often family vacations, some celebrating anniversaries, some celebrating engagements. Depending on the time of the year, we'll have spring breakers, of course, and then motorcyclists for the motorcycle weeks. And then it's motorcycles a lot throughout the year, but there's a couple of big events. And then we've got car shows and air shows, and of course the golfing, that this is the golf capital of the world. All those people together, we're expecting like 20 million guests this year to come out and enjoy this. I'm going to see if I can get some of those rides. Some of the surfers getting the rides. So right in the middle of the view, if there is one getting a ride, we've got a little bit of a clearer horizon. We can see that, and then right there, it's a little bit tougher to see. Over there, it's far blurrier. In the middle of the view, we can barely see the beginning of the pier, but we can see the end of the pier, and that's a couple miles away. So when there's thousands of miles of temperature differentials along the surface of the water-covered Earth, that's one of the reasons why we can't see other continents. That's why a big telescope over the face of the water won't work. I've got a telescope with a camera on it. It's a P1000 and a P900. So those are some of the dynamics of the construct. As a photographic and an investigative journalist, I look over information, make an effort to present the truth about it, and then present those documentaries and that information, and I'll comment on it. That's largely what I'll do, and I want to help people to base the most important choices of your life and of their life on reality. I mean, for gosh sakes, if we were actually a cosmic cough, if by random chance all this stuff came into being, then do your own thing. However, if you believe that God is real like I do, then it's good to obey God, to do what He created me to do. That's what I get to do. That's why I do this. If it didn't matter, I'd be doing other stuff, not this. So when we get the millions of people, like I mentioned, 20 million this year, we're expecting, maybe we'll get more. When we get a break in the weather, they can just come out of the condos, or if they're joggers, or surfers, they may just come out anyway. And it's part of the tapestry of life that we're looking at. So it's sprinkling right now, enough that I wouldn't want to have the P1000. And like I mentioned, there's no way that I could see the sun actually now. Too many clouds. And likewise, the moon, which doesn't put off as much light, although it puts off its own light, is setting in the middle of the view there. Nice blue sky up above. It's beautiful. Now, I'm gonna head on back home, but I wanted to show you right in that direction is a whole lot of storming going on. So it'll be a bit beach less traveled right now. We've got the scattered showers through the day, and like I mentioned in approaching the live YouTube moonrise out of the ocean, that there would be days of rain, and it has happened. Some of the projections of the meteorological organizations that project rain and weather events, they're pretty good at that. It doesn't mean they're the experts on all things astronomical, though. And when we look at satellite imagery, we're looking at high altitude photography and videography, just so you know that. That explains a lot. I've got documentaries that back that up. Satellite feeds are, or satellite TV is actually broadcasting bouncing off of the firmament. No problem with that. A geosynchronous satellite is unnecessary because it's not a spin. It doesn't need to be synchronized because it isn't moving. The Earth isn't moving. So there you go. So the reality of a gentle rain, the people out enjoying it. I'll tell you, a gentle rain like this is more comfortable than 100 degrees temperature with a heat index of 10 degrees over that. So those are some of the dynamics. So when our guests are coming and going, and they can see me with the camera out, pointed at them, some of them may go to my channel. I have not been told by the people at the Prince Resort here that I can't do this. Whoa! Wow! What was that? Okay, so I got a problem with my... Hopefully that comes back. Ah, there it is. That was nice. Sorry about that. So like it's 79 now. The water temp is approaching 90. This time of the year it'll get into the 90s, and then we'll have one of the other things about the video, talking about the location like in Egypt and Peru, and they're talking about different locations that are synchronized in the pyramids. One of the things that they're talking about is the hemisphere. It's not a sphere, so we don't have hemispheres. And that's part of the dynamic. They considered themselves wise, and they became fools. The knowledge of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. I didn't come up with this on my own and just decide to tell everybody else how deceived they were. What happened was I was deceived and struggling, and I wanted to know the truth more than anything else. And what happened was, God helped me to realize the reason I was deceived is I was dead. I was spiritually dead and didn't know it. Let's put Australia. Let's put Australia in the view. Yeah, how about that? Yeah, right there. Australia, are you okay? Of course, Australia's okay. Time for a little more coffee. So, with a wide mouth like this, a lot of liquid can move fast. When God opened up the floodgates of heaven, He caused a lot of air to move out from under the firmament, and the water to come in. You know, I remember as a boy hearing the story of the Great Flood, thinking it would take a lot of rain to flood the earth. Oh yeah, yeah. And so that's why God opened up the floodgates of heaven, caused it to rain, and also opened up the fountains of the deep. All of it. So even though I may have only a few views on a Facebook, sometimes I'll have thousands in a few days. The video of the local sun, you can hashtag. Look at my hashtags on my channel. They're meant to research this information. The local sun, stationary Earth, stationary and level Earth. Keep in mind there would be no level anywhere if we were moving. That's just the reality of that. So what I'm going to do is take us for a ride now. Let's trying to flip it around. I can't flip it around. Wonder what's going on there. That's weird. I don't know if I did something. You know, this happened the other day. I did something to my broadcast where let's see, I've got missing features because I dropped the phone. Yep, don't know what that is. Not sure. Okay, so that's the way it is right now. Let me try one other thing. Let's see here. Nope, it's not letting me flip my camera. I'm just missing some features here. That's okay. I don't mind. So one of the things that I found out too is when I'm more courteous as I'm driving, like letting other people go first and all of that, it just gives more views. That's all part of the dynamic. So there's a bit of a delay that allows people to see. So typically what I'll do is I could make a turn at the end of the street, or I could merge right at the crosswalk. The advantage with that is that the people walking through the crosswalk will see the car and stop, be the reason for the people driving to stop too. It's all about the views. You know how many views I would get if I were in bed right now? Well, some people driving by my house, our house, that would be part of it. When I wait for a couple of vehicles like that and people aren't upset behind me, they get to see if they want. And they can pursue the information if they care to. What's a little bit awkward with me not being able to flip the camera around, I can see what you can't, and you can see what I can't. It's a little bit different. It's all flipped around. It's all reverse. Yeah, I don't know why that happened. No, I think what it would probably require is to stop the broadcast and then it'll reset. Sometimes I have to restart the phone, so I'm going to keep my eyes on the road and talk about a few other things. So one of the, I believe, really important dynamics, I want to break some of this down. I've got subscribers, and some of them are personal friends that I know. There's subscribers that have zero content, none whatsoever. Whoa. And they've got no content, and it's as easy as making your playlist publicly available. That's all. So if you watch a video and you want your friends to see it, you can click like, and then it adds it to the playlist of liked videos. I've got other saved playlists, and I'm aware that there's a lot of censorship going on with in the world that we live in. It's not just YouTube and Facebook, it's more. It's a lot more. It's basically most of the information is being choreographed and censored in a way that's beyond most people's ability to even comprehend. So it's not just that you're going to get if you talk about maybe getting a dog, you're going to have dog food commercials or videos about dogs and maybe advertisers that have dog grooming businesses or dog raising businesses. You might it's way different than it's that and so much more. It's because of who you are, where you live, and the people who you're connected with, you may get recommendations, and probably will, that are different than others get. So this is one of the reasons why I have my liked video playlist and I talk about it so much. It's not just that I'm sure that almost anybody I know and interact with on Facebook or YouTube has the ability to type a word in a Google search or a YouTube search. I get that. That doesn't mean you're going to get the results that I got. And so one of the problems, as I was mentioning earlier about pride being a powerful catalyst for deception, I'm interacting with some very highly educated, powerful people that make a lot of money, have a lot of stuff, and are part of the grand illusion that people are having perpetrated on them. Yeah, I'm that guy. Because of the unique place that God has put me in this whole discussion, for that reason, I personally believe they chose to pick me to make fun of. And I'm built for that. That's why I don't have a problem with it. With highly educated, powerful people making fun of me, or maybe not even acknowledging me. Because some of those people that are in this discussion that were showing, in the truth community, and we're talking about how they're deceiving humanity, many of those people have seen me whether they know it or not. I mean, the Flat Earth conferences, you got to know that a lot of people in high places are looking at all that information. And most certainly, the artificial intelligence is. And so, why did they pick the most subscribed YouTube channel in the world to make fun of what I'm saying? They're not making fun of my big eyebrows and all that. Not him anyway. Others have. But PewDiePie, he's making fun of WaterSeek's level? That doesn't make any sense. Hello? That's what it does. We don't have toilet water flying out on people in Australia because of gravity. It's just water seeking level. What I wanted to do was to take testable, repeatable observations that can be in the hands of anybody who hears this. The video gamer that just had Red Bull shoot out of his nose and needs to wash up at the sink and go, WaterSeek's level? That makes perfect sense. That's all. So one of the demographics that's waking up would be the younger people that realize much of what we're being presented as a grand illusion, a virtual matrix, so to speak. Many of the children that can't even walk yet are on smartphones. And to add to that, just something to consider, we're all eternal beings having a temporary human experience. That human experience ends for about 7 people per second, which is well over 1 million per year. Do you know how many seconds in a day? That's really not up for debate, as far as I know. I believe it's 86,400 seconds. You can do the math. The math really doesn't lie. We have a a son that David is our oldest, Austin is our middle. David they've gone to college, and one of the studies was statistics. You can basically make statistics tell the story that you want them to say, the numbers to say. So I'm not going to say that the numbers lie. Are they accurate numbers? That would be one of the things. Is it true? Is it true? So when we look at the evidence that demands an answer, I believe, why are we here? What is this all about? Does it matter? Well, if it does matter, then we should find out to who it matters and why. And if there is a creator, we ought to find out what he's got going on here. What's this all about? So some people will hear the truth and believe it's a fairy tale. I get that a lot. Just so you know, if you're all believe, if not you, if people you know believe that the Bible promotes the globe, well, you're wrong. There's no nice way of saying it. Even if you have supposed Christian apologetics ministries, Answers in Genesis, and Creation Ministries International, I hope they come around. I hope they're just not tools of Satan, but keep in mind, Satan will use who and what he can. God uses it all, including Satan. It was no accident that Satan ends up in the Garden of Eden. Are you kidding? And then we've got the fallen angels too. We've got two families in this world and their constituents. And you can argue about how that is. Does a clone have a soul? We've got God's family and Satan's family. The elect angels, the fallen angels. We've got artificial intelligence and technology that's beyond anything I've ever seen, personally. Does that mean it's the most advanced in human history? Not necessarily. And how many more puddles are there that continents rise out of with firmaments over them? Is there more than this one? Could be. How would I know? By irony and paradox, we don't know what we don't know. It's just the way it actually is. To go along with that, if we were deceived, by definition, we would be unaware of that. So, like I mentioned at the conference to a very respectful gentleman from Channel 5 News out of Florida, I said, if you believe we live on a globe, I know you're deceived about that. What I went on to say is that at different times in the dialogue with these individuals that I interviewed and they interviewed me, is that the whole discussion of the Creator, many atheists are clinging to their scientific priests that are promoting the godless cosmic Big Bang. I didn't even realize that they were lying about the globe. I knew they were lying about evolution. At that time, I was a walking dead man and did not know it. I thought I was born again. Even though I believed in the Bible, even though we homeschooled our 3 sons, and I worked at a full-time ministry for over a decade, Rawhide Boys Ranch in New London, Wisconsin, met captains and champions of business and industry from major corporations. Kimberly-Clark, Neenah Foundry, gave individual tours with them. Bart Starr of the Green Bay Packers, who recently transitioned. I've met those individuals, talked with them, and I've met plenty of fascinating individuals, not just face-to-face, worldwide through the internet and interactivity with the Facebook system of communications, the Messenger program, and then, of course, there's what I've created and what I've shared as well. And so people can have an idea of what they think I'm about, because I'll talk about it, I'll show it, I'll expound on it, because it matters. It matters for eternity. I typically like to face out. Sometimes it's awkward to do that when people are coming and going, but that's just the way it is. We had a lot of rain last night. A lot of rain, really fast. Joni was coming down Highway 31. She said she had to go really, really slow. So then there's hydroplaning. Hydroplaning. We live on a plane. There are airplanes that fly over a stationary, non-rotating plane. I thought that much like Santa Claus, when somebody was vocal about, the whole Santa Claus thing is a lie and you should know about that. Well, in a similar way, and very ironic as it would be, I'm wanting to interact with anybody who will listen, regardless of educational background and social responsibilities. What will it profit a man if he gain the whole world and lose his soul? So if you're one of the teenagers that I've met, or younger, happened along my channel, or you're one of the people high up in the space program, programming the space between people's ears. Look at the history of the space program with Walt Disney, artificial intelligence, Operation Paperclip, the drugging of humanity, food, water, air. It's all happening. So when I post a video, I post my playlist. I don't just post a video. When I hashtag titles, and you may happen across one of my videos that says artificial intelligence, and you might think, well, there's not a whole lot of mention of artificial intelligence in that. I want you to hashtag it, to click on it, to research it, to look at the videos on my playlist. It's my little lemonade stand of truth, so to speak. It's the opportunity that I have to expose the reality of the world that I believe we live in. And so that's why I do this. I want to thank you so much for your public and private encouragement. Feel free to subscribe to YouTube Truth. You might need to hashtag it. It's no accident that it reads right when it's in the reverse on the selfie mode. It's beyond my figuring out. When I put it in there, I didn't know it was going to do that. I just wanted people behind me to see it. Well, there you go. I've got people behind me that are supporting and encouraging me. I've got people in front of me that have created videos and content that in some cases cost them their lives. There's serious reasons to question the world that we're in. If we had that time-lapse footage or real-time footage of supposed construction of the pyramids, let's say we happened along some part of a piece of technology that previously had not been discovered, let's say. And now we have found out that they're going to show us that, oh my gosh, aliens visit us. We've got the petroglyphs, the rock carvings that show spaceships, helicopters. When you look at this stuff, I would encourage you to apply your critical thinking as best you can and to seek the truth with all your heart. Because the truth that really matters for eternity. All the other stuff, like what I had for breakfast, the truth about that isn't really going to matter to you. What if you choose to believe that I'm a whack-job crazy guy that should be drugged and hospitalized and silenced because I'm influencing humanity with deception, I would simply say, take a look at my playlist, see what I'm about, and see if that really holds true. I'm a threat to the deception for the people that are really looking to know the truth. As I'm exposing the deception on my channel, it's there as well. The deception is all around us. How will you recognize it? So I encourage people to get out and enjoy the beauty and majesty of creation and evaluate with critical thinking how things really work. Can a wind chime hang upside down anywhere? Is that even possible? Try and make it happen. If you've got supposed video footage of upside down people because they're recording it from the Hubble telescope, send me the link. It doesn't exist. We've got up and down, not upside down, in relationship to one another. Feel free to reach out anytime. Thank you so much. Wow, I can't even shut off my recording. That's interesting. Okay. Hey, I was able to turn it around now. Maybe I can finish the broadcast. I don't even know. I might have changed one of the controls. I'm not sure. Thank you so much. Well, now I've got to turn off the phone. Hopefully I don't lose the broadcast. Or the